The first day of hearings for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh begins this morning. No questions will be asked today, only opening statements. But over the next few days, he's expected to face extreme scrutiny as senators from both sides of the aisle question him on a wide variety of topics. CBS's Laura Podesta has more.
All eyes will be on the Senate Judiciary Committee this morning when Brett Kavanaugh sits down for his Supreme Court confirmation hearing.
So the big question is whether or not there will be just one or two Republicans who will be willing to cross over.
Democrats can't block his confirmation on their own, so they're expected to press the appellate judge on a number of hot-button issues, especially health care and abortion.
First and foremost is the fact that this president said, I'm not going to put a man on the Supreme Court unless he's going to overturn Roe versus Wade and the Affordable Care Act.
Even Republicans admit it's a possibility.
If there's a case before him that challenges Roe v. Wade, that he would listen to both sides of the story, apply a test to overturn precedent.
That could be enough to swing Senators Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins, two Republicans who support abortion rights.
It's not normal because we are not able to see 100,000 documents.
In recent days, Democrats have also been raising the alarm over a lack of transparency after the Trump administration blocked thousands of documents related to Kavanaugh's time in the Bush White House. And less than 24 hours before the hearing, a lawyer for former President Bush released 42,000 new documents. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called it absurd, tweeting, "Not a single senator will be able to review these records before tomorrow." Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Also making headlines this morning, Tropical Storm Gordon is churning through the Gulf of Mexico, where it's expected to strengthen before it makes landfall later today. The National Hurricane Center says Gordon could become a Category 1 hurricane. Warnings are up along the Gulf Coast from Alabama to Louisiana. The storm lashed South Florida yesterday with 50-mile-per-hour winds and dumped as much as 4 inches of rain. The Billings Police Department continues to search for a missing 12-year-old boy. Antonio Gonzalez was last seen this past Wednesday. Police described the boy as 5 feet tall, 100 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He was last seen wearing red and black Jordan shoes, a white t-shirt, and jeans. Anyone with any information is asked to call the Billings Police Department at 657-8460. Elsewhere, we now know the name of a 12-year-old boy who died after being trapped under an ATV for 2 hours. He has been identified as Ty Kindle of Belgrade. Montana Highway Patrol says the incident happened just after 2 p.m. Sunday near Clarkston. Kindle was traveling northbound when he rolled the ATV while making a left-hand turn. MHP confirmed he was wearing a helmet. Kindle became pinned under the ATV and was trapped for 2 hours before being found. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A Billings man narrowly escapes being hit by a falling light pole in the Heights. Dennis Rudolph was on his way to the Heights Target store in his convertible Monday morning when the light pole came down as he sat in the middle lane on Airport Road. A delivery truck had struck the pole, causing it to fall. Rudolph told Q2 as he heard a crashing sound, he looked up and saw the pole coming at him and had very little room to move forward. The pole grazed his head and neck, coming to rest on the driver's seat. Escaping serious injury, Rudolph says he feels someone was watching over him. Another car was damaged, but its driver was also uninjured. A summer road trip turned tragic for a Colorado family as they journeyed through Missoula last month. An out-of-control pickup truck slammed into their RV on Interstate 90. The results were deadly. But as MTN's Joe Valley explains, when they were at their worst, Missoula was at its best. And now this family is saying thank you to the town that saved their lives.
It's a summer afternoon, August 2nd. The Diaz family is heading home to Colorado after a road trip in their RV. They made it as far as East Missoula when Tanya Diaz at the wheel saw an out-of-control pickup truck heading right towards her.
And I was like, oh, we missed him. The second I thought that, it was crashed right into my face.
The pickup was on its side when it hit, slamming into the driver's side, then sliding down the length of the entire 35-foot RV. Something tore into Tanya's left arm, cutting it almost clean through and trapping her in the torn steel.
Because right when it hit, oh my God, the pain, Jill, it was like nothing I had ever felt in my life. It was excruciating. I remember and I'm holding onto the steering wheel and I just start curling up.
In shock, Tanya kept driving, afraid of rolling the RV. Her partner finally coaxed her to the side of the interstate, but who was hurt and how badly? Missoula County Sheriff's Corporal Zach Sargent and Deputy Jason Jones were on the scene quickly. To chaos. Not only was Tanya gravely wounded, but her father Al, who was sitting in the back seat, was dead. CPR could not revive him. And they weren't sure Tanya was going to survive.
Definitely had that look on her face like she was going to die if we didn't do something.
What they did was stop the bleeding with a tourniquet and wait for the jaws of life to cut Tanya free. They helped her seriously injured son and assisted the 6 others in that RV. A coordinated effort to save a family. On this terrible and tragic day, there were moments of grace, from the doctor who pulled up on the crash scene to help, from the expert surgeon who was able to reattach Tanya's arm, and the fact that 2 Missoula County Sheriff's deputies were carrying their own personal tourniquets at the time.
My main purpose when I first started carrying one was either for me or for one of my partners if something bad were to happen. We all carry them for us, but I think when we get to something like that, it's pretty obvious that we're going to use it.
From what the doctor said, without that tourniquet, I probably would have bled out by the time I got to the hospital.
Tanya is home recovering in Colorado Springs, but even after the worst day of her life and the death of her beloved father, Tanya and her family are reaching out to the deputies, to the Highway Patrol, to St. Patrick Hospital, and the people of Missoula who saved them.
The whole Missoula experience, I mean, I can't say enough, because it was an overwhelming outpouring of, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Are you okay? What can we do? There was so much positive that came out of this and so much love that I can't be sad. And I owe it all to my family and Missoula.
It was people who donated money, a condo to stay in. They gave them clothes and shoes. Strangers offered them hugs and prayers. And in the end, maybe something more.
That entire town saved my life, took in my family, helped my attitude, built me up, fixed a lot of things, not only in my shoulder and my back and all of that, but just mentally and emotionally. I didn't know that people cared that much.
In Missoula, Jill Valley, MTN News.
And Jill tells us Corporal Zach Sargent was able to get the tourniquet on without much arm left to get the bleeding stopped. Both he and Deputy Jason Jones are now nominated for life-saving awards for what they did that day. Tanya is also grateful to Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Andrew Novak and Dr. Gary Wilstein. The driver of the pickup truck involved in the crash was not seriously hurt. In other news, Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks are reminding hunters this fall that there are new regulations in place to help combat chronic wasting disease in Montana. Hunters are required to stop at FWP check stations to get their deer or elk sampled for CWD this year. There are transport restriction zones in portions of Liberty and Carbon counties to help prevent the unintentional spread of the disease by hunters. CWD is an always fatal neurological disease that affects deer, elk, moose, and caribou, and was first discovered in Montana less than a year ago. FWP Game Management Bureau Chief John Voorhees says if CWD isn't properly managed, the disease can have dire consequences for Montana deer and elk herds.
It's important that hunters and other people realize that the threat and the risk that this poses to our wildlife in the state. In other states, for example, where it's been there for a long, long time, it's reduced populations by 45%. In some cases, it's reduced populations 20% a year.
Since chronic wasting disease was discovered last fall, the state has held 2 special hunts to determine how widespread the disease was in the affected areas of south central and north central Montana. Tests determined that CWD may be found in as many as 8% of mule deer in southernmost Carbon County along the Wyoming state line. In north central Montana, in portions of Liberty County along the Canadian border, fewer than 1% of mule are estimated to be affected. In health news, pediatricians around the country want parents to start thinking about the flu now. CBS's Laura Podesta reports.
It's still summer, but parents should already be preparing for the upcoming flu season. The American Academy of Pediatrics is recommending all children 6 months and older get a flu shot.
We want to try to get the flu vaccine for children as early as possible in the season. So ideally, you would like for your child to be vaccinated before the end of October.
Last year's flu season was one of the worst on record. 179 children died and thousands more were hospitalized. 80% of kids who died were not vaccinated. That's why mom Jenny Carson says she's not taking any chances with her 3-year-old Jacob.
As a parent, you want to protect your children as much as possible.
This season, the AAP is recommending the flu shot for kids as the primary choice over the nasal spray. Experts say the shot has provided the most consistent protection against flu strains in recent years.
So that's great.
While no vaccine offers 100% protection, Dr. Madhavi Kapoor of NYU Langone Health says symptoms can be less severe for people who get the shot.
You're far less likely to have complications from the flu and also be hospitalized as a result of the flu. So much better to have at least some protection than none at all.
For parents like Jenny, that's comforting. She says she'll be back to Dr. Kapoor's office as soon as the flu shots come in. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
And experts also recommend pregnant women get a flu shot because they can pass some protection on to their newborn.